Yeah, it's CC, the CEO. Wanna change your life? Come see me, yo. I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just for yourself. I'm a bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a gold builder that could teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track. In the long run, you'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black-owned firm, but we ain't all black.
My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. On this platform, we like to hang out with Black folks who either are smart or want to be smarter, and also those who are B1. B1 means that we put our community at the top of the priority list. B1 means that we know that Black people can be number one in the world in economic intelligence within the next 40 to 50 years. B1 also means that we must be one in order to be successful. If you agree with that philosophy, put a hashtag B and the number one in the chat. Put hashtag B1 in the chat. And I see Juju's in here and Rashard and Angry Black Alley Cat Politically Reparations. See, some of these names are so crazy. And, so what's up, everybody? All right, so let me jump in and talk about our special guest. Our special guest is this really unique Black woman by the name of Constance Carter. Now, Constance, if you don't know about Constance, then if you don't know now, you know. Constance is the CEO and founder of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals, which is the largest Black-owned real estate firm in the state of California. Everybody give a digital shout out, a digital round of applause for this sister who's kicking butt, taking names, and making it happen. And I see you already got people hitting on you. A brother in here already asked, "Are you married?" Are you married?
Almost not married.
Almost not married.
Yes.
Okay, so you got a chance. You got a chance. No disrespect to your ex-husband, but hey, you got a chance. So just come correct, bro. We know we respect Black women on this platform, so just make sure you come correct. All right. So here's the thing. All right. So Constance Carter, which talk about coming correct. By the way, she also has her own money. She don't need your money. So again, when you come correct, it can't just be about how much money you got. Let's start from the beginning then. First of all, how are you doing today?
Oh, it's even better to see your face, Dr. Boyce. And first of all, congratulations. I had the honor and the privilege to attend your wedding, and it was absolutely spectacular. Dr. Boyce, if y'all don't know, he was getting it in. He was getting his groove on. I don't know if you guys seen it, but you got to go back and look at the videos. We had a ball out there in Galveston, Texas, and his wife is so beautiful. So I just want to give you a shout out. Thank you for the invitation, and say hi to Dr. Alicia for me, Dr. Alicia Watkins, for anybody, if you're nasty, right? So to give a shout out to you guys and thank you again. It was beautiful and wish you long love. You guys are the standard of Black love. So, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'll pass the message on. It's I was looking, in my phone just a few minutes ago. I have her listed in my phone under her maiden name. And just I think 5 minutes ago, I was like, hold on, let me change that last name right quick. And I'm gonna tell you that I felt a little power. I felt like, okay, I'm changing it, because when I say that that I have so much admiration and respect for her, it's completely true. And the interesting thing too, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this because I know you do a lot of good panels on Fly Newbie and Queen TV, about relationships and stuff like that. One thing I also realized that as men we got to figure out is that there's a shift in the dynamic when you're dealing with a woman that's really got her own thing going on, that's like already that's established professionally, that, is not chasing your money because she's got money of her own. She's got dreams of her own. And it's really something that is a constant ongoing conversation in the community in terms of how men and women can relate to each other, because some people, they clash. If you have a powerful man and a very powerful or empowered woman, it can become like this weird competition. And thank God, she's a therapist because those kinds of tools are necessary to help us just kind of know how we can make sure everybody is getting what they need and deserve. Can you kind of talk about that from your experience and also conversations you have with your friends? You worked with a lot of really empowered women, particularly a young lady named Kathy Jackson, who unfortunately she's no longer with us. Big ashe to Kathy Jackson. Everybody type Kathy Jackson in the chat. She was actually on the team at Catalyst, and she just died in a motorcycle accident. So God bless this sister. So can you kind of speak to what I was just talking about in terms of just how we as Black men and Black women are learning how to relate to each other when Black women are just off the charts in terms of success?
I think it's important as a Black woman, when you have money, money doesn't define you. Right. Money does not define who you are as a person. It should not define your role in the relationship. And I think we really need to focus less on that power in which we perceive money as being in the relationship, and just really focus on being a helpmate. Right. I could make more than my man. I could make more than my husband, but I have to know my role as a support to him. And you also have and that's strong enough to be able to accept and allow you to operate in the areas that you're strong at, and allow him to operate in the areas that he's strong at, and just kind of figure out what that dynamic looks like. But the money for me, and people, I've said this 1,000 times, people say, well, money don't matter when you got it, right? If you got money, it don't matter. It matters to people who don't have it. But money for me is so far down on the totem pole when it comes to love. That's just not, that's not what I lead with. Of course, I want a man who can take care of his own self, a man who can, provide for his own self. But I don't need anybody that can do anything for me financially. I need to want you. I need to be able to I need you to be able to lead me. I need you to be able to guide me. I need you to be able to give me that emotional support. So financially, as long as you can take care of your business, your credit is right, which we're going to talk about, and you know how to budget, and you're not frivolous with your finances, I think you could be okay, and you could work in any capacity. You just have to, be ambitious. So that's kind of what it is for me.
Yeah, well, I think that's important. By the way, everybody, I'm talking to Constance Carter. She is the CEO and founder of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals, the largest Black-owned real estate firm in the state of California. And we're having a wide-ranging conversation about, Black folks and money and everything else. And she's so, Constance, I'm gonna tell you, you're so diverse that I can't really put this conversation in a box. And in my mind, I was like, okay, which direction do I want to go? And I said, you know what? I'm gonna let it go where it's supposed to go. Because in case y'all don't know Constance, I met Constance through a great man by the name of George C. Frazier. Shout out to George Frazier. He's the author of the book Success in My Race. That everybody should read that book. Everybody should know about George Frazier. And so one thing I'll say is that when you're talking about flipping back to what you were talking about as far as men and women and relating to women that kind of have a lot of stuff going on. I have found that that there are that there are benefits to having a teammate, and I think that it's a matter of deciding what your personality type is. But I realize that it's even though both of us could carry the load on our own, I wanted to get away from this mentality among some of our folks that says I can do it all by myself. Like the men that are like, I don't need these women are garbage, whatever. Especially you got kids, you worthless, right? You've heard that kind of crazy narrative, which is just immature and ridiculous. But then you've got the women that are like, look at me, I'm super, thumping their chest, like dudes, like I don't need no man. It's like, okay, calm down. Like you don't have to do it all by yourself. And I find that having a good teammate is really beneficial if you can make the relationship work. What are your thoughts on that?
Teamwork makes the dream work. First, I want to give a shout out to Alpo Yeo, who said I couldn't be his woman no matter how much money I got with all those fake plaques in my head. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I think that the feeling is mutual, brother. So look. I love it. I love the trolls in the comments box. I am not scared of you.
Was that a Dusty Beta male that was talking?
Look, it's a Dusty Beta male. You don't get up no, it's all good, boo. But listen, Dr. Boyce, teamwork makes the dream work. And I think we really have to identify where we're strong at, right? So there may be areas in the relationship, like I might be stronger in managing the budget. That doesn't have to be, gender specific. I can, it's you finding out where you are, what you have to offer, and what you can bring to the table, and working in that. And that's like business. That's like, that's with everything. What are your strengths? Like I know my top 5 strengths, right? And I have all my agents, we do the strengths assessment to figure out what our top 5 strengths are. And the idea is that you operate in your strengths, and then you have a partner, or you hire out, or you have somebody else that operates in your weakness. It's not taking the time to try to build your weakness. It's having somebody else come in and operate so that you can, be whole and be complete with one. So that's kind of what it's about, is just figuring out that piece. And those are, having those courageous conversations with your partner, your teammate, or whomever, and figuring that out. And then both being willing to go forward and operate in their strengths and not stepping on anybody's toes. This is what I do. This is what you do. But the important thing is everybody got to do something.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's what's also interesting is when I hear the dynamic that some women express where they feel that sometimes when you are high flying, that the man can feel a little bit inadequate, and in many cases it's not a fault of the woman, like she's just existing, right? And some men, it's almost like if you're standing next to a really tall person, you just feel short, and they're not telling you that you're short, they're not trying to make you feel short, you just feel short, right? And I've seen that kind of happen, and I can kind of get that, right, to a point. But then we know that there are also situations where somebody can remind you that you're short, right? Like
Mhm.
I get a little attitude. So like I did know a woman who was doing really well. She was like an executive and making a bunch of money, and she married a guy that was like, I think he worked at the post office. And when she was reflecting on her dead marriage, she confessed to me that she would get angry and sometimes just kind of say, look, I make the money, like we're gonna do it my way, you
Mm.
know I'm wondering, is that something that she felt bad about that, right?
Yeah.
And it went real bad. It went real bad. Like she I know in their relationship there was a lot of infidelity. Like I think she's at the beauty shop, and one lady's in there talking about this man she's having trouble with, and it turned out that man was her husband. like they'd had a long-term relationship, and then she digs deeper and finds out that he had a lot going on, as far as women did, or as far as women went. But I wonder about that. What do you think about that? I mean, there are some people who just say that that there's a dynamic with the male and the female where the man's got to come close to matching you. Like I think about my goddaughter, who's like a daughter to me. She's 6'2". Her
Mhm.
husband is 6'3".
Mm.
I don't think she would have married a guy that was 5'10", 5'8".
Yeah.
You know,
That's hard.
right? So you talk about that economically, and I've noticed, again, just keeping it 100 here. I've always noticed that it almost seems like for a lot of women, not all women, you can't overgeneralize, but a lot of women, they want the man to maybe be a little bit taller, be a little bit smarter, make a little bit more money, just have a little bit more power. I don't know if that's true or not. What do you think about a statement like that? Do you think, like you notice, like when you see men and women together, you see this, the man's over here. You don't usually see that as often, right? And so
Yeah.
you see that in a lot of other areas. What do you think about that? Like if a man just, if he doesn't feel like he can measure up, um, how would you assess just all of that, just everything that I just did?
I think he should play that rap song. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl. That's what you need to do, brother. No, I'm just kidding. I could say that in all transparency, for me, when I was in my 20s, because I've always, I came out of high school and I was kind of smart, right? So I came out of high school and I was making money that people twice my age was making. I didn't go to college. I got a PhD, a public high school diploma, but I came out and I started working in the corporate world relatively quickly, and I learned a lot. I kind of worked my way up the ranks, and I got married at 22, and I confessedly, that's a word I just made up, but I did that to him in my 20s. I think there's a level of immaturity that goes along with that, right? If you're not self-aware, and I would say things to him like, you don't make that much money, I did that. I'll say that in my 20s. As I'm in my 30s and I started becoming more self-aware, and in my 40s, I realized that it's a joint effort. It's not about, I had to grow into that though. And I think there has to be a level of self-awareness for women to say, listen, money it means nothing. It's more about contribution. So I don't care. For me, I make good money. And it's very rare to have, a man that makes as much money as me, right? Because I'm in this percentage that a lot of people aren't in. So that for me, hey, it is what it is. But if you can figure out what your contribution is to the relationship, to the family, to the marriage, that's what it's more about. So you cannot base a relationship on the financials unless the man is spending all the money or somebody's spending all the money and it's causing a hardship within the marriage. And that's when you have a problem. But like, okay, he might not make as much money as you, but there are other areas in which he can contribute equally that contributes to the whole health of the marriage. That's what you got to look at. So it's not money. That's just, I can make the money, but I need you to help me keep the money, So if you're not making it, why don't you help me with managing it? Why don't you help me with investing? Do something that's going to contribute, right? That's what I look at. So I think it's very immature for a woman to, base a man's importance on how much money he makes or whatever. You could be freaking a landscaper. I don't care. You can be a janitor. I don't care. I want you to be ambitious. Now, mind you, I want you to have dreams and goals and all this stuff. But I'd rather have somebody who can take care of themselves and who's not intimidated. Somebody who's willing to be the leader, but can ride shotgun if necessary. Like I'm strong in this area. So hey, you go ahead and ride shotgun and allow me to operate in my greatness and in my genius. And then we could do the same thing, but it's it goes back and forth. I'm going to support you in whatever you do. You support me in what I do. And I think that's important. The money, I think it's a necessary topic, Dr. Boyce. It, was something that needs to be talked about, but it does not make who you are. Because if you are crappy, and I want to say the SH word, if you are crappy, broke, you're going to be crappy with money, period. And I think we just, because at the end of the day, tomorrow I could lose it all. I've been bankrupt. 11 years ago, I was bankrupt. I went from bankrupt, hardship, foreclosure, short sales, everything else. I'm 26. I'm making $200,000 a year. I'm 33, making $250,000 a year. And I went bankrupt. Okay. Making $250,000 a year. I filed bankruptcy. And because I had more month than money, I lost things. I lost houses and stuff. So I know that it could be taken like that. So the money doesn't make me. I still, I've been through the fire and I can still smell the smoke. So I understand that you cannot wrap yourself in what you make. Now I've made great investments and, I do other things now to kind of insulate myself from that. Hopefully that'll never happen, but you just got to know, anything can happen. I get sued and lose, whatever. I don't know what can happen, or I could lose my ability to generate. I got investments, but anything can happen. And so it could be taken from you. Don't let that be the factor that you place your worth on. It's so much more to life than that. It really is.
Well, everybody, in case you're wondering, I'm speaking with Ms. Constance Carter. Constance is the CEO and founder of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals, the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California. She's also with Fly Nubian Queen. And by the way, she's an expert on credit and the credit you need to buy a house or to do whatever you want to do. And she's doing a special event this weekend that you can take a look at. If you go to flynubiancredit.com, you can join and she can help you work on getting your credit score up. But Constance doesn't just know about credit. Constance knows a lot of things. She's very, very smart. And I've always been really impressed with her. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. And I want to, I want to kind of dig a little deeper into that and pivot a little bit. One of the things you mentioned I thought was really interesting is you did a good job of doing something that I appreciate is you were talking to ladies and saying you're not defined by your money. These are the things that you probably don't want to do or you don't want to do when you're dealing with a man that you love. And I also feel that as a man, there are times where as men we have to coach and cheer each other, deal with that. So for example, I've seen cases where a woman did nothing to make a man feel inferior financially. All she did was shine her light. And there are some people, male and female, but I'm thinking about guys that will just be offended by the fact that your light is shining brighter than his. I insist on being the smartest person in the room, even when I usually am not. And you know what I'm talking about, because men, we have our egos, and our egos get bruised. Next thing you know, we feel disrespected in some kind of way. And sometimes it may be because that person's success or their intelligence triggered an insecurity that you have. Like, oh, you think, you better than me because you went to college. No, I just said that I thought that Papa John's tastes better than Pizza Hut. Whatever, right? Like I was just showing you the survey data. A lot of times. So I've seen that as well, right? So I think it's not just as you mentioned. You made a good point about how you carry yourself. If you're a woman, yeah, I agree. You shouldn't wear that income on your sleeve, your power on your sleeve. That will offend a lot of men, right? But then also, I think it's a matter of making sure you're dealing with the right kind of man, because there are a lot of men who get what you're saying, who are like, yeah, you know what? I don't have the money, but that's cool. I have no problem sitting back in the background and letting her shine, and I'm going to sit in the back, but I know I'm carrying my weight, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a maturity thing, right? Because I can personally say that I don't know if I understood that as well at 25 as I did when I was 40, 45, right? Mm-hmm. So at 45, I'm marrying Alicia. Alicia is a full professor of social work. just so everybody knows, only 1% of the population, 1% of white people get PhDs. It's probably 0.5% for black people. But then on top of that, only maybe 10% of that 1% get tenure. And then only maybe about 10% of that 1% become full professors. So full professors are top of the pile, like top of the pile. She's won awards and done things that no white person in the history of our campus has ever done. And so she's shining, right? She shines in her power, in her greatness. And so as a man, I can tell you that the fact that I'd already kind of had my shine, the fact that I'd already achieved some things, I had enough money, I'd already had enough attention and everything else. It was very easy for me to say, go on, baby, you go shine, you go do your thing. Right. Now, if I was younger, if I was, let's say less mature, and let's say I hadn't accomplished anything, I don't know. I mean, I can see where those competitions emerge where it's like, well, wait a minute, I want my shine. I want to shine. I deserve to shine. I've never, right? So I really think that ladies that are looking for a man, if you are a shiner, like if you are a high achiever, you may want to consider like sort of looking at the maturity level of that man. Like, has he already accomplished something to the point where he can put the ego to the side because he's gotten that out of his system? Because I most young men, at least ambitious ones, they want to go out and do something significant. But then when you've done it, you're like, okay, I'm done. Like, now I can get back and let somebody else have the attention. And I don't know if that's something you can do when you're young. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I agree. I've seen in real time all of the things that you're saying. A man initially, they'll say, I'm good with that. I just want to support you. Like, I just want to be in your presence. You inspire me, all of those things. And then when they get into the situation, it's like, well, wait a minute. I don't want nobody to think that, you carrying me. I don't want nobody to think this. And then they start, having their own insecurities play over their mind. And, well, she got this and she got that, and feeling, less and less and less. And then it becomes an issue, and it comes out in other ways, right? It comes out in, just like you said, I was just talking about Papa John's, and now we talking about, I'm a man. Like, what just happened? What's
like,
going on?
We know you're a man. Like,
I don't get it. I thought we was good. Like, if you and I know what it is that we have, and so why are we so worried about, what it appears to be? And I think that's sometimes what it is too. Men, first of all, they probably already have these insecurities within themselves. And then you get outside like, oh, okay, Playboy, I see you. Oh, you got that? Oh, shoot. And then that also is like, oh, they don't think I'm good enough. And and so you really do have to have a level of maturity to be able to deal with somebody on that level. Again, you could be in whatever capacity, financial wise or whatever you do in your career, but that security that you have to have in yourself is extremely important. That emotional intelligence that you have to have is extremely important, because you're going to get these things thrown in your way. Her light is going to shine. My light is going to shine. I mean, what am I going to do? Stop owning my businesses? What am I going to do? Sell off my investments to make you feel better? I can't do that. I'm not going to do that, right? So you're going to have to either step up and we're going to do this together, or you're going to have to step off and go somewhere else. And, you be better for somebody else. And then, somebody who comes into my life or a sister's life who is, similar to me, we just have to, there is going to be somebody out there that is able to take it. And that's just, that was just not for you. That situation was just not for you. And it is what it is. So you don't wrap up your time in trying to figure out, why I could, why, I'm not tripping off of this. That's not your problem. That's not your issue. That's his issue. He has to deal with that. He has to work through that. And perhaps he has to go get with somebody who is more on his level. Right? And, it is what it is.
And whatever that means. And that's a harsh, ugly truth. But sometimes that's the truth. It's, because I can tell you, if you ever want to ruin yourself financially and emotionally, just go get in a real terrible relationship. If you ever want to like not accomplish anything and literally just go through like an intense amount of trauma, go get in a bad relationship and you'll know what I'm talking about. And
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about the drive that you had to build Catalyst and to become the power broker that you are. You have done some amazing things in your career, and I haven't even told you all this. She's a hell of a rapper. I'm trying to find a little clip so y'all can hear how she flows. But Talk about that in terms of just mindset of
Yeah.
a person that's a high achiever, because your mindset's unique. Your mindset's very unique. I noticed that from the first time I met you at the George Fraser event. You don't move like everybody else. And
Right.
anybody who wants to be in the 1%, I'm not talking about 1% in terms of money. I'm talking about 1% in terms of achievement. Pay attention. Like the 1% don't move like the other 99% in terms of I'm talking about achievement. I'm not talking about money and wealth. I'm talking about but wealth becomes an artifact. Wealth becomes a symptom of how you move, right? But it's deeper than just how much money. It's like there's something about like I think you have a slogan, nobody works harder than Constance Carter. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm trying to work smarter these days, though, doctor.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Me too. Tell us about that. Talk about your just your philosophy. I know you. I can tell. You don't have to tell me that you have principles you live by, a philosophy you believe in, because people that achieve at your level tend to have a philosophy, almost like a personal code of conduct that they carry everything they do. Tell us about that.
I could think of so many things, and I'll say, like, for me, you say I'm smart, and I appreciate it. I just hang around with smart people. I'm an executor, really, at heart. I just have people around me. I try to be around people like you, Dr. Boyce, and get influenced by you, and folks like my mentor, Dr. George Fraser. But I'm an executor, and I think that's the thing that will set me apart, because everybody has an idea, and there's a saying that the idea doesn't belong to he who thinks it, but he who executes it. And so you could have a thought or a dream or a passion or desire that God has gifted you with, but if you don't execute on it, it ain't gonna happen. And what I know is, if God puts something in you, if you don't make it happen, somebody gonna make it happen. And a lot of times we get mad because somebody else did what we were supposed to. I was supposed to do some stuff like I remember when I had an idea about, like, I wanted to do an online calendar system. The brother the Calendly, if you look at Calendly, that's Black. The guy who created that is Black. I didn't even know that until years later. But that was my idea, like 8 years ago. And I never executed on it. I never did anything, but had imagine that I did something with it. I'd be making millions of dollars doing Calendly, right? But going back before that, I can look back over my life, and I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't come from money. My parents came from Gould, Arkansas. Now, you could imagine what Gould, Arkansas, population of about 500, right? And it was like slavery, right? Back there, it's like you went back in time. So they moved to California after my dad came home from Vietnam. I already had my sister and my brother. They were teenagers when they had my kids. But we just had a very different type of life, and it was very tumultuous. It was different. But I can remember through all of the turmoil, and we had 19 people living in a 3-bedroom home for a family of 5. We had a lot of people, and I was exposed to a lot of things that I shouldn't have been exposed to as a child. But I remember my aunt. Her name is Rosie Mae Jenkins. And she said in Sunday school, and it was, little bitty church, little Black church. We had about 50 members. My uncle was a pastor. She was the Sunday school teacher, first lady Sunday school teacher. And she said to me, and it changed the course of my life, I think. She said, "You are equally as important as anybody in this world," right? She said, "You're no more important, but you're no less important. In other words, you're no more inferior. You're not superior, but you're not inferior. You are the same as anybody else." And I remember looking up at her, and I said, "Even the president of the United States?" And she said, "Even the president of the United States." So at 7 years old, no matter what was going on around me, I thought to myself, wow, I am equally as important as the president of the United States. And nobody is better than me. Like, I can do whatever I want to do. And I always lived my life thinking, I deserve to have this. I can have that. I could, they have it. Why can't I have it? So I never had an inferiority complex. I always knew that I deserved whatever it was I wanted, because I was equally as important as the president of the United States. And so I lived my life in that way. Now, growing up, my mom left when I was 14, and then I was homeless when I was 19, and, got married and bought a house, and, we kind of built our life. And then we went through bankruptcy and foreclosures and car repossessions. And we had been through all of that. But I knew that it was a time that this happened. I knew that this was not who I was, or where I was purposed to be, or where I was destined to be. I always knew it was going to be greater later. I can remember my friend Keisha, when I just had my daughter, and I think we were a few months behind on our mortgage, and we were just going through all this stuff. And she said, "How could you be so optimistic?" And I'm in my, mid 20s at this point. And I said, "Because I know right now is not where I'm going to be. This is not defining me. This is not who I am." And I knew that. in my 20s that I deserve better. Like, yeah, I'm going through this right now, but it's going to get better. And that's kind of how I live my life. Just always being optimistic and knowing. And so it was the fact that was implanted in me, and I ingested that, and I lived by that. Like, I know that I deserve more. And then I operated in that. And I started to, manifest certain things because I felt like I deserved it. I felt like, why not? If you can do it, I can do it too, And those are the same principles that I teach, my kids. My kids are personified in what I teach. I'm so proud of them. My daughter's an entrepreneur. My 16-year-old son is an entrepreneur because of this man right here. I bought him the Dr. Boyce Watkins stock trading program when he was 12. He's 16 now.
Wow. Yeah. Your son is making more money than most grown-ups.
Yeah.
Can you are you okay sharing like a little bit of his results in terms of like I want y'all to hear about her son. Give me his name. I don't have his name with me.
Warren Carter.
Warren. Okay. So Warren G's. That's what we got to call him. Warren G's got the cheese because he's making G's. Warren is making G's. How's Warren doing with his stocks?
Man, listen. Well, so first, let me go back to when I bought him the program, and I said, this is for all 4 of my kids, right? My daughter was like, if he was 12, I've been 17, and I had a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, something like that. And so I said, hey, I was kind of trying to do it like the parable of the talents in the Bible. I'm going to give you this investment. I'm going to see what you're going to do with it. So I gave them all the class, and I said, if you finish this class, I'm going to give you $1,000 a piece. And the only one who did it was Warren. Everybody, my daughter, she was a teenager at the time. She was like, today. Now she's like, wait a minute, I should have, now she tried to get a little stock game up. But he was the only one who did it. The other ones were too small to kind of really be engaged. And I wish I had the video to share, but my son, after he was so inspired, after he took the class, and I remember quizzing him, like, what's liquidity? And he would tell me what's equity, all of the things that you have in the program, right? And he took that $1,000 and he made $8,000. It took him about 2 years to make $8,000 at 12 because your program. And so then like a couple years later, like I lost it all in like stock options. I was trying to do options, but I didn't know what I was doing. And it's if you don't know what you're doing, it's gambling, right? So I built it back up. And last year around last year, I had just had some money sitting in Robinhood. I wasn't really doing anything with it. It had probably been there a couple of years, about $7,000 into it. And he wanted to get into it again. And I said, okay, go ahead. So around September, he took over the portfolio. He took that $7,000 and made $40,000 by December. He took the $7,000 and made $40,000 by December. Wow. And he didn't do MC. He didn't do, the ones the Wall Street guys did. He made $40,000. So I told him to monetize that. And I told him to create a group, a stock trade, it's called Stock Tips with Warren. And he gets on, and this is what he does all day long. It gets on my nerves, but he's giving stock tips. And he has a couple of hundred people in this group that pay him, $25 a month for him to help share, stock tips. And it's so cool to see him, like, right now, like with COVID being homeschooled, he wasn't worth a damn on his grades, right? But that stock group, let me tell you, he's in that thing all day. And, the thing I love about him is we talk about money all the time, but he's like, by the time I'm 18, I want to buy my first duplex. I want to do this. He's looking at YouTubes all the time. So it just is what I teach that's personified in human form with my kids. And that's, that's another thing too, is like, learn this stuff. Because in our community, there's such a huge deficit. There's such a huge gap. And I did a TED talk about the wealth gap, but there's such a huge gap in terms of, our income and our net worth. Forbes said by the year 2053, our net worth was going to be zero. Mm-hmm. I don't think that to be true. I think that we can change that. But it's not only important that we learn it, but we got to teach it to our children. We have to, teach one in our community for us to be able to not live that, make that come true. So to see my kids, I have 4. I got 4 kids. The other 2 ain't worth a damn, but no, I'm just kidding. They're young. They haven't gotten to that point where they've gained interest yet. I have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. Actually, they'll be 13 and 15. And, all they do is play the game all day. So, but they're going to figure it out. They will figure it out. I love them all. They're great, great kids. But the 2, they're little entrepreneurs, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm so proud.
I love it. I love hearing that story. And by the way, everybody, I'm talking to Constance Carter. Constance is the CEO and founder of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals, and it's the largest Black-owned real estate firm in the state of California. Constance has a special VIP group. If you want special access to Constance, you can go to ConstanceCarterVIP.com. She's also on Fly Nubian Queen TV almost every day, right after Vicky Dillard later on into the night. And she has a lot of good conversations. So you all should go check her out. And also, by the way, any parents that are interested in taking a look at the program is called Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. That's the one that her son Warren was in. And the first month is free. You can give it a try. And basically, I designed it after teaching college students at Syracuse University for 13 years. I said, this is stuff we could teach 5-year-olds. We just have to chop it into baby food so that our kids can digest it at an early age. Because the sooner your kids start investing, the more you have an opportunity to pivot them into a different direction. A lot of the reason the Black wealth gets eaten up, and Constance, we can go in that direction. Because in a minute, by the way, I'm actually want to play your video. Let me ask first. I should ask it.
Yeah, of course.
Was it "Ladies the Catalyst"? Is that what it's called? Yeah. You've got so many great rap songs online. Y'all really got to hit. Like Constance ain't no joke of a rapper. Like she's really a good rapper. But I can only play one. But the other point I want to make on this as well is that when you talk about your son Warren and the fact that he knows that feeling of having $40,000 liquid cash at the age of 17. He's 17 now or 18?
He's not even 17 yet. He'll be 17 next month.
Oh, okay. So he's 16 years old. And he's got more money than a dope dealer, right? And he's really like, if he wanted to get on the internet and take pictures, people take them pictures with the phone using I'm sure he's not going to do that. But if he wanted to, he could. Like he's got real wealth. It's not pretending to have money. What I think about when I hear a story like that is I think about the exact opposite of stories like that. I remember that story by DMX when he talked about how he got introduced to drugs at an early age, and it plagued him for the rest of his life, and it caused him. It was part of the reason he died at such a young age. I see when I hear a story like that, I'm seeing the exact opposite, right? Of that, right? I'm seeing a scenario where someone that you trusted, an adult in your life, meaning his parents, introduce you to something that sparks a light in you. That this is it, right? And it hits you like a drug, except it's a healthy drug, right?
Yeah.
He feels the power of knowing what it means to make a lot of money, really, in a pretty quick, efficient kind of way. And what that does is it changes everything. Like I would be stunned if you ever told me a story that 10 years from now Warren was working at some factory, making $40,000 a year. Warren's gonna be like, no, I made $40,000 in a month at home in my pajamas. Like I
told him Dr. Boyce he was gonna be my ticket out the ghetto. I said, you the one. You gonna be my ticket out the ghetto.
Yeah. Without a basketball. Ain't no
without a basketball.
No football, but like investing, like that's so I love it. I think that's what you do. You get your kids introduced to, like, I don't even talk to my kids about getting jobs and all that stuff. I'm not saying that that's bad or I would look down on them, but I'm like, there's so much more out here for you. Let's start at the top. Let's start at the top. Let's talk about what rich people get to do and how they live their best life. And then if you choose to go to a different level, that's on you. But it ain't gonna be because dad put limitations on you at the age of 12.
Yeah. I remember he was in 8th grade. He told me, he said, Mom, my biggest fear in life is that I won't be successful. And I was like, well, let's talk about that. It made me, it was cool. First of all, you're having fears but your biggest fear in life is not that you're not going to make it to 18 or you're not going to make it to 21, is that you're not going to be successful. Well, let's unpack that. Fact is, you are going to be successful, but the fact that you desire in 8th grade to be successful, it speaks volumes. And so to me, I was like, boy, you got it. You halfway there, is that this is such a strong desire for you in 8th grade that you're actually thinking about this. And, he's a special kid. And I just pray, them other two will, follow in his footsteps. Right now they just want to play basketball and play video games. But I pray that they kind of find what it is that their passion is as well. Because I don't want any of my kids to work for anybody. Like, I'm working hard to create this legacy for y'all. This is yours. And I'll be telling, like, my daughter, she actually works in the business too. So she comes to our executive meetings and things like that. And she's like by the book. And I tell my staff, I'm like, look, if anything happened to me, this is gonna be your boss. So y'all better to get it together because she already don't play. You know,
I totally
for them. You know,
I totally love that. You know, I mean, you know, we all pass things to our children, and I want everyone to be conscious of that because you want to pass your children a powerful legacy. Don't pass them another generational curse. We got too many of these curses, and a lot of us had curses passed to us. You know, we didn't get no inheritance, no guidance on a lot.
We started at a deficit, right? We started.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many of you in the chat. Give me a yes or no. Raise, say yes in the chat if you feel like you kind of started off a little bit behind. Like, give me a yes if you feel like you wish that there was a little more there for you when you started, a little more guidance. It's not no disrespect to your parents. I'm sure they loved you, but now it's a new day. Black people have figured some things out. And I want you to be very conscious about every word you say to your child. I talked to a young lady I mentored, and I saw her talking to her daughter, and I said, just remember, as her mother, every word you have is like it's so powerful. It can either be a brick upside her head, or it can be the rocket ship that lifts her up to the moon. So use the power of your words wisely and guide that child in the right way. So let me do something real quick. I want y'all to see that Constance can rap, and Constance did this song, and she's not a corny rapper, right? She's not just like a real estate agent who raps. Like, she's somebody that probably could have got a record deal, but she just chose to go to her plan B. There you go.
I've been rapping my whole life. So when they let me tell you, one of my agents wanted to do a rap song, and I was like, let me get on. And I just kind of just took over her whole little project and was, you know, but I was like, this is my chance.
Well, I love it. And I know you and I both are friends with Sugar T out of the Bay Area. Shout out to Sugar T, and actually Sugar T is gonna come in and do some stuff with us on Fly New Being Queen, so I can't wait.
Beautiful. She told me, awesome.
Yeah, she's super smart, and she has something to say, you know. And I really think we got to check out what these great Black women are doing, and just show them the same respect we show to the guys. So I'm gonna try to play this video. Hopefully it'll come through. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Give me a yes when I start playing to let me know you can hear it. Just say coming through loud and clear, something like that, so I can make sure everybody can hear the video. So here we go. This is called "The Ladies of Catalyst," and this is a song they put together. And I'll play it right now. Hold on. Here we go. Let me see.
Yeah. Let's go. Hey, lady.
I don't hear the volume.
Hold on. You want me to turn the volume up?
No, it went out. Now it came back in.
Oh, you know what happened? I know what happened. I turned my mic off because I thought it would create an echo. So it wasn't echoing, right?
Yeah. Did you share volume when you shared the thing? Because then you can turn.
I think I did. I think it's sharing the way it should be. Let me play it now. And if it's playing okay, give me a thumbs up. And if it sounds like an echo or it doesn't come through loud enough, just kind of like do something like that. And let me know. All right. So here we go. I'm gonna try it now. Let's see.
2 months bank to pay stubs. You ain't even gotta worry about her. Cause if you got your two, and your two, then we got you. Yeah, we got you. I heard that you've been shopping. I heard that rent ain't dropping. Tight, you should hear with Catalyst. Let me give you options. Now that rates are dropping at an all-time low, you can quickly get approved with a 640. You know, you can just walk in. Down payment, steady income. I'll arrange it. I'll find you a safe haven. Imagine all that you be saving. I'm patient. And I even work with sellers off the market so fast, it'll make that quick jump. You got your two, and your two, then we got you. Yeah, we got you. If you got your two, and your two, then we got you. Yeah, we got you. 2 years taxes, 2 months bank to pay stubs. You ain't even gotta worry about her. Cause if you got your two, and your two, then we got you. Yeah, we got you. From the valley to the bay to LA, I can list your house and have it sold in just a day. First time buyers, you can come my way, or even if you're investing or you want to upgrade. Okay, my name is Angela. I've been here 30 years, helping people buy their dreams and throw away their fears. Single moms, divorcees, vets, or you have an empty nest, you'll invest like the balls with acres like Rick. You got your two, and your two, then we got you, we got you, yeah, we got you. If you got your two, and your two, then we got you, yeah, we got you. 2 years taxes, 2 months pay, 2 pay stubs. You ain't even gotta worry about HUD, cause if you got your two, and your two, then we got you, yeah, we got you. Yeah, SAC, CEO, I'm change your life, come see me, yo, I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just raise up a bestseller, house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a gold builder that can teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really got to fill your savings. You got to have multiple streams to pack your children, baby. Let me teach you, get your on track for the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst, and once you got second, your back on firm, but we ain't all got your two, and your two, then we got you, we got you, yeah, we got you. If you got your two, and your two, then we got you, yeah, we got you. 2 years taxes, 2 months pay, 2 pay stubs. You ain't even gotta worry about HUD, cause if you got your two, and your two, then we got you, yeah, we got you. Last but never least, it's your girl Martella. When it comes to getting a house, there's no excuses, fellas. I'm not just an agent, but I always keep you building wealth. Buy your first home from me and keep your credit in good health. Martella Keys program is everything you needed to be. Build a portfolio and also build your legacy. It's biblical. You should have 7 streams of income. So if there's a disaster, you'll be well off and it's your two, and your two, and we got you, yeah, we got you, yeah, we got you. If you got your two, and your two, then we got you, we got you, yeah, we got you. 2 years taxes, 2 months pay, 2 pay stubs. You ain't even gotta worry about HUD, cause if you got two, and your two, then we got you, yeah, we got you.
Woo! Digital round of applause. Everybody give a shout out to Constance Carter and the ladies of Catalyst. That was a good song.
Thank you. You know, we actually recorded that, though. I have 2 locations. So we recorded, we videoed it at both of our locations. So I have a co-working space. It's also an office. It's an event center. I have a studio over there, classrooms, library, offices, all kind of stuff. I have that in Sacramento, California. So we recorded part of it there, and then we recorded a part of here. I don't know if you could remember, I showed you my little outside where I'm by the water. So then we recorded the other portion here. So I'm actually where I was doing my verse. I'm actually sitting right where I was doing my verse right now. But yeah, so we had fun. It was so fun. I just kind of took over this. Somebody said it's the girl with the glasses, my daughter. She's the same age as me. So, but it was actually her rap, and I was like, hey, can I get on? And then I just kind of took over her whole little rap thing. I was helping direct it and everything else. And I had to apologize, you know, because I had this takeover spirit in my system, and I just took over her rap. I wrote, you know, part of other people's verses and everything. You know, I was just doing too much, but I wanted it to be perfect. So, you know, it was her thing. And again, that's, you know, part of tapping into other people's genius, because I'm not always the smartest one or has the big ideas. That's not me, but I execute, and I try to make situations better, and that's what I do. Just surround myself with really smart folks.
Well, you know that I noticed. You know, I'm not. I like to think I'm into hip hop. That was literally. I didn't even like music until hip hop really became big. You know, because I was
really.
I remember back in the 80s and the 70s, and I'm Curtis Blow, and I want you to know that these are the breaks, right? That was when I started enjoying music. Before that, I didn't like, a lot of the R&B that I heard on the radio. None of that. Hip hop really inspired me, so I've always loved it. And so whenever I hear lyrics, whether I'm listening to Cardi B, because I might critique something there, right? Or listening to somebody that I really love listening to. I hear it all and I try to see the talent that's there, right? And understand, the flow. And so you know what good songs sound like. And I said, okay, this is not just a bunch of real estate agents who put together a corny rap, like somebody rapping over, a bowl of Cheerios. Like this was really good. Like the beat's nice.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I was super impressed. And by the way, everybody, this isn't the only song that she did. She's done others out there. So y'all should just go look it up. And so by the way, as much as I just love this conversation, I have a meeting I got to go to. I'm kind of mad because I'm enjoying this, but we got to do this again. I definitely can't wait to have you back. And everybody, I want you guys to know how to follow Constance on social media. You can go to I am Constance Carter. And also this weekend, Constance is actually doing a special session on getting your credit right so you can get access to capital. Access to capital is the number one challenge for Black people right now. That is the number one thing that we need to do. And you got a book you're holding up? You want a book?
I got a couple of books. This book is called Keeping Score, What You Need to Know to Make Your Credit Score Grow. This is actually a bestseller that I wrote myself. A lot of people write these bestsellers and they're not really bestsellers. They just know how to categorize them. I sat down and wrote this book, had no idea what I was doing, but I wrote it and it actually became a bestseller, sold thousands of copies. But it's really a very simplistic book about getting your credit together. And so the workshop that we're going to do on Saturday is going to really dig deep down and really help people individually with their questions. And so we'll do Q&As and we'll just kind of, talk about the things that you can do specifically to increase your credit score. I've helped thousands of people increase their scores, hundreds of points. And it's life-changing because the thing about it is wealthy people don't use their own money. Boy's saying using his own money to invest. He's using OPM, other people's money. Well, how do you use OPM? You got to have good credit. As old people sometimes say, good credit.
Credit.
So we got to get your credit right. I mean, that's one of the that's the best thing that you could do for your life is get your credit in order so that you can, and then really understand how to use leverage to create wealth. That's the cornerstone of what we need in our community to close that wealth gap. And I'm so passionate about it. And I can't wait to talk to the folks about it because it's something that we need in our community. And what I know about Black people is a couple of things that we have a deficit in is sometimes credit and access to capital. And so let's talk about how we can get that for you.
Yes. So if you want to join Constance in a small group setting, ask questions and talk to her, go to flynubiancredit.com. The event is this weekend. It's Saturday, right?
It's Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, and everybody's invited. Everybody's welcome. So thank you very much, Constance. This has been one of the most fun and entertaining conversations I've had in a while.
I love talking to you, Dr. Boyce. I love it. I love it. And you know what? The thing about it is if it ain't fun, I don't want to do it. So I love to laugh and enjoy myself. And I had a ball with you today. So thank you.
Yeah, so we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do this. You ever have that friend? I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about, but you ever have that friend where you don't get to talk that much, and then you talk to them, you're like, why don't we talk more? We should be talking more.
We got so much catch up on. Like, I'm like, wait. You gotta get. Okay. I'll let you. But I really want to talk to you.
And I can confirm that she's got an awesome spirit, and you can see that, just through the interview. So go check her out, everybody. We got to support the empowered Black women in our community, and Constance is right there at the top of the pile. And also, thank you all for hanging out with us. Hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button before you go, and we are out of here. So have a good day, everybody.